So there it is, the excavator's going back today, all done with it. Robert's cleaning it up very nicely. You can see that scratch right here. We did not do that. The guy before, who rented this before us, brand new machine, put that paint gouge scrape in there. So that's discouraging. But Robbie wants one of these.
I do.
He says you can do a lot with one of these, and yesterday proved that. You can do a real lot with one of these. Well, you could go into business with one of these. You could dig all kinds of stuff. I'm coming up with ideas for my field. My neighbor wasn't very dependable as far as helping me with that. I think we could just rent a machine like this and Robert could do it. So anyway, it's going back today, nice and clean. Robert is now taking the excavator back to the place where he rented it from, and we're waiting for the sunlight to get more over here on this side of the house so we can work down there and form our footings. And while he's gone, I'm going to figure out where the footing should go for forming it up, which we're going to do today. And the excavation needn't be real precise. It just needs to be in the general area and a little large. But when it comes time to put the footing in, you need, or we need, to be a little bit more precise. And then when we put the wall, the concrete block wall on the footing, will be very precise. And I'm gonna get behind the camera and show you what is important. This back wall with the door onto our patio is what we want to line up with. We want the plane of the addition to be in line with this wall. That's important, and so therefore I've put a string line here. You can see it there, and it runs along this wall parallel. And then out there, I have a sawhorse with a concrete block holding it in place, and the string is tied there. So that is a line that is parallel to the back wall of our house that we're going to join into. You can, I'll take a look right down this line. Right there. Yeah, so there's more parallel right there. Okay, so now from that concrete block wall under where the string runs along there, I will measure 24 feet, the dimension of this addition, out, and I will plumb down from this line, and that will give me the corner. Well, I have to measure in a little bit, but in general, that's the principle here. We use the line to establish straight, and then we measure, find our corner, and everything else will be done down inside the excavation to figure where the footing goes. That's where it begins. And the rain, we did get heavy rains last night. It's quite wet down here. Hopefully the sun will dry it out pretty well, pretty quickly. But even if it doesn't, it's not too wet to do what we need to do down here. And I think first thing we'll do is probably lay in that geo fabric, the filter fabric that I bought, thinking I would hit wet sand. I might as well use it. Kind of a stabilizing fabric material. And hey, I've got it. I've got lots of it. So I might as well lay it in here. We're going to do that. Then we'll put our footing, form our footings right on top of that. And we've got a unique footing system here, something I've never used before. The footings are now pretty much formed up. Well, they are formed up. I'm just putting some last re-rod uprights on one end over there. And we're ready for concrete. We're hoping to pour this Thursday. Today is Monday. That's when Robert and Neil in the afternoon will have time, and then Friday, Saturday, we'll start getting the walls up. But I wanted to tell you about this footing system, this Fastfoot buy a roll of this plastic and this is your form. And this plastic looks like the exact same stuff, a little thinner, that I use to make my solar pyramids in my garden that you'll find in my Planet Whiz Bang idea book for gardeners. So this is strong stuff. There are some YouTube videos on the Fastfoot system. It's used commercially, it's used residentially. I'll get behind the camera and show you a close-up of how this footing form looks with this Fastfoot material on it. This fast form footing system begins by determining where you want your footing and then driving these stakes in. Every 5 foot apart. They say in the instructions, I went 4 foot. Then you take a level, a builder's level, and shoot a level line on them where you want the height of your form, and you screw in this 2x4 all the way around. Then you drape in your plastic, your fast form plastic, and when it gets poured, it bulges underneath here. This system prevents what is known as rising damp. A lot of basements are damp because the footing rests directly on the soil. There is no capillary break, and that concrete basically sucks up the subsoil moisture continually and feeds it into the basement. It's called rising damp. I don't want rising damp. I want a nice dry crawl space. So this plastic form acts as a capillary break. That's one aspect of it that's pretty nice, I think. Now, this form here is 20 inches wide. I have 3 half-inch re-rods that are running down through it. They are, you can see with the wires here, they are suspended from the spreader, the spreaders. This is a spreader. And that concrete reinforcing rod gives this footing incredible strength, more than if it was just concrete. The rods are required by code, and even if they weren't, I'd put them in because they really do make a difference. Now, this footing is 20 inches wide, and I have 3 rods in it. That's a little bit beefier than the code requires for an 8-inch wall. 16-inch footing with 2 re-rods would be enough. Now these uprights here, hopefully I've figured them correctly for placement in the, I've got them bent there and tied right into that middle rod, and they should go up through the cores of the block, and the blocks will be filled with concrete after the wall is up. I like this Fastfoot system so far. I'll let you know for sure after we've poured the concrete in it. I'll tell you, it feels good to be out here, to be building something. I like to build. I would actually like to build more. But boy, it's expensive to build.